Alright guys, let's talk garden because it's the beginning for gardening season for most of us, especially in the cooler zones. I'm in zone 6B. However, garden season has started for a lot of people, mainly in the warmer zones. Now for me, I have started most of my seeds indoors. And so, to expand my production and to get started and lengthen my garden season, my practice every year is to start indoors, even though it comes with challenges. Now, indoors, I have challenges as far as lighting, sometimes heat, and that interferes with germination. I may have to reseed my grow cups a couple times. Sometimes I may have germination, and sometimes those seedlings still don't survive, and I have to reseed again. That would not stop me because I know the weather is getting better, time is passing by, and I'll be eventually outdoors gardening. Now, as you can see, I have a whole lot going on here on this table, and these are plants that I'm growing from cuttings that I started. As you can see, some other plants here I have hardening off, such as this snake beans, yep. I believe these are okras. Yeah, these looks like okra, I believe. I messed up a little bit on the labeling. But as far as overwintered stuff, I have them out here just hardening off a bit. These were indoors, such as my lemongrass. This is, let's see what this is. This is a cardamom plant that I purchased last year for $25, so I was not going to let it die. It's cold hardy, but not in my zone, so I have to bring it indoors, but it's still alive. I'm going to clean it up, but it's getting partial sun here in this corner, and so it's hardening off a bit. These tomatoes I grew indoors, and they're still doing great. There's a whole lot on it, and it's doing a whole lot better now that it's outdoors and it's actually getting rainwater whenever it rains. This is a muscadine grape that was gifted to me by Lashes Journey. So here it is in this container. I have really big plans for this because I can't I can't plant it in ground. So I'm thinking about getting a few plants off of this and plant it in a tropical area. So we'll see how that goes. I have peppers here that are already flowering, and these were overwintered. These are the dried up, see this? Dried up peppers on these plants. This is a weed right here, or some type of herb that may have some medicinal benefits to it. But see, this pepper here also survived, putting out new leaves. This is from last year. Still have peppers on it. These are jalapenos. And there's a whole lot of practices that I use in my grow zone because I simply have to work with the weather and the temperatures and, each and every challenge that confronts me as far as being able to successfully grow in my zone. Now, in here in my greenhouse, I do also have some seedlings. I am able to start earlier. These are cucumbers, all cucumbers. I also have some peppers that I started last year in the fall to get a start on this year's growing season, so I won't be dropping much of any pepper seeds this spring. For me, it just makes sense starting indoors so that I can take advantage of creating, a longer growing season to be able to have as much production as I possibly can have. This tomato here, I'm gonna put it out. Started it indoors, and I should have had it already hardening off. I mean, it did harden off some in the greenhouse, but I'm gonna sit it on this table right here. so that it can also be exposed to some partial sunlight. Now over here I have some more like tropical plants that I brought outdoors already. It's been a couple weeks now and they're doing pretty fine. As you can see, this here is some sun damage, and this is because this fig plant needed to be hardened off. I had this in my garage. It's a black mission variety, which is not cold hardy in my zone, and before I even think about planting it in ground, I'd rather bring it indoors where I can protect it. And also all of my other tropicals, my citrus plants, they look healthy, they're doing great. I won't dwell on this, but this is just the way that I am doing things to be successful in growing whatever I choose to grow in my garden. Now, I also have a lot of perennials that would pop back up every year, such as herbs. Of course, I have fruit trees. You see, these herbs here have already sent out flowers. So I'm going to gather the seeds from these. Not like I need any more seeds, but I'm going to gather some seeds because I like to share. I give away a lot of seeds to family members just to encourage them to grow their own food, and that way they have no excuse once I give it to them and they don't have to ask me for it. I'm giving it to them regardless, so they will be planting and I will hold them accountable, and the planting have begun and I'm happy about that. Seeing them growing their own food also gives me great comfort, knowing at least that they're making the effort to grow their own food and eat healthier. Another perennial is my Egyptian walking onion. It's been in this bed for a few years. And over there I have some brassicas that I planted in ground earlier. All different type of brassicas here. I have some in my other garden in the front, or I should say the side garden, which is at a different stage. I did lose some garden space for this year for the first time because, yep, I have grandchildren. And so I had to make room for them that they would also have a safe space. They can be outdoors because that's what I want. So we're going to start with the playground first and then we'll get them into the garden, which he's already in the garden with me and enjoys helping me do a little bit of garden work. Right here. Right here. There you go. Good job. You did it. I also do grow in containers. Not just the stuff that I overwinter, but I do grow herbs and also leafy greens. Like this Bloomsdale long-standing spinach here. I planted some chamomile in this one. More rosemary in here, and I emptied the entire pack. Look at this, guys. This is a lot of rosemary because I use rosemary a lot. I make oils with it. I use it as green seasoning, and I also use it to make rosemary powder for my cooking. These also have been filled in with potatoes. They're starting to come up, as you can see. I grow potatoes in ground as well as in containers every year, and that has worked for me. These are bigger containers which have proven to be more fruitful. So that's what we're doing around here. We're gardening with intent to provide food, as much food as we can. You know, and the good thing about gardening the way I do is that for me, you don't need a whole lot of space. Like, there's so much you can do in a small space. Even in containers, you use whatever you have, you know, make it work for you as best as you possibly can. Don't be distracted by people that don't have a similar situation that you have going on. Don't be discouraged by that. Don't be intimidated by that. Do whatever you can. Just ignore the distraction and grow your food as best as you possibly can. Do it for you, do it for your family. Don't do it because you want to be on show per se. And for me, coming on here on this platform and showing what I'm doing, I make, fairly short videos because I want to come on, get to the point, show you what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and let it be. And if it sparks your interest, great. If it gives you an idea, great. That'll be awesome. But either way, I'm living this lifestyle. This is what I know, and I'm doing it more and more. Sometimes I feel like I do too much in a sense because it's a lot of physical work and it's tiring. And as I get older, I realize how much I don't mind the time. I can just sit in the garden and enjoy it, but I always find my hands in the dirt doing something, even though my intention is just to come out here and just look around. I find myself doing stuff when I had not planned to do anything in a garden. And so, in that sense, I feel like sometimes I'm doing a little bit too much. Sometimes I may start pulling weeds, and I don't necessarily need to be pulling the weeds. And that takes time, it takes energy. Sometimes the sun comes out and it's beaming down, but because I'm enjoying what I'm doing so much, I don't realize, I need to go take a break, or I may need a drink of water or so, or I may need to eat. And I just stay out here because I have that time and I'm enjoying this space, because for me the garden is peaceful. For me, taking care of the turkeys and the chickens and just being able to walk through my fruit orchard and be outdoors at this time of year, especially when it's warming up nicely, I just enjoy. This is my peaceful space. This is my home. It's just my peaceful space that we created for us to enjoy, and we are enjoying it 100%. And that's the joy about gardening. It creates this peaceful space for you. When you put in the work and you make all these sacrifices and you realize how this turned out, this is something, even though you may not grow up gardening, and then you adopt the habit of being outdoors trying to grow little by little. Because I've seen people started off not gardening and they're actually gardening now, and I'm just like low key so proud of them, like really proud of them. And it gives me joy to see that people are enjoying just growing one plant, growing in one container. It just gives me joy when they realize, you know what, boom, I did this myself and I'm enjoying it and I'm excited, so I'm going to do more. And that's what gardening should be about. It should be positive. It shouldn't be a competition. It shouldn't be, oh, my way is the best way or your way is invalid. It should not be about that. It's time for people to come together. And I just think that if we can embrace each other and the effort that people are putting into doing what they're doing, it should just be a way of encouraging and uplifting people instead of fighting down and competing. It's just total nonsense. I've seen it. I'm exhausted just seeing it. And I'm just here doing my thing and remaining in my peaceful space doing what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, when I put out all this work and I garden so hard, when it's time for production and time for harvesting, guess what? I have to still put in that work to make sure that I preserve and I put away and I eat the things that I grow. Because what's the point if I'm doing all of this and not eating or using what I'm growing? It's just pointless. It's totally pointless. So garden for me never stops. In the fall, I'm preserving, I'm making oils. You guys, I don't show a lot of the things that I do in my kitchen because it's more intimate, and I want to have respect for my family members because they're in my house, they're walking around, they're I did a couple of them before. I don't want to be like, shh, shh, I'm making a video. I don't want to do that anymore because this is not why I'm on this platform. So I'll give them their freedom while we're in our home to do what we want and feel free and enjoy our personal space as far as that is concerned. So I've slowed down quite a bit in showing the preparation of what I do, but I do a whole lot. I preserve. I can a lot more now. I dehydrate, especially later on in the season when we don't have sufficient sunlight and warmth to air dry my herbs so that they could be preserved adequately. And I create a lot with the herbs that I use. I get to eat a lot of my food that I actually grow in my garden, and I'm happy about that. It makes my body feel a whole lot better, and in my mind, mentally, it's a mental state that gives you a sense of freedom, knowing that you're making a better decision and that you're not going out there and purchasing something to consume that you don't know what's in it. And I'm not saying I don't go to the store and buy stuff. Yes, I do, especially when I need to make a dish that requires a fresh vegetable or a fresh herb or whatever it might be. And I may not have it at the time because, you know, and I'm not afraid to say this because some people are afraid of being judged by putting this information out there. But no, I have no, there's no reason for me to be afraid of that or to be judged. I do not care. I don't and won't feel guilty for that. You just have to do what you have to do. And this is why I garden so hard, and this is why I put in so much effort into doing what I'm doing. And I just want to encourage people to do the best you can while you can, because there might come a point when you may not be able to do it. Who knows? We just don't know. But this is just a little bit of my sit down in the garden. I was just out there weeding some of my beds, and I decided to come to the back to, you know, give a little chit chat. This wasn't planned, but I was like sitting back here and I'm looking around, and I'm just amazed at how much I can do in this small space, which was just a yard, guys. This all was lawn. All this was lawn. All of this. Everything I'm showing you in here, up to the fence line, it was lawn. Where my chicken coop and run is was lawn. That had to be maintained. We maintained that for years. All where my fruit orchard is, we have all those fruit trees, different varieties of fruit trees, was lawn. Let me walk you all the way over here. All this was lawn. Everything was just lawn. See all these beds? All this was lawn. Well, there's still a strip of it right here, but obviously I put fruit trees in it. We have 4 pear trees to the front here and 3 cherry trees and a peach back there. And so my goal is to eat off this lawn. You know, my garden is not as vibrant as yet, but I do have stuff planted already. My onions back there. And I don't want to make this video any bit longer, but I do have some perennial herbs that pop back up. A bunch of mint right there, as you can see, going crazy. Blueberries back here. Blackberries against the fence back there. Another patch of blueberries way up there. And just a lot going on in my garden. So that way we can make better choices as far as the foods we put in our body. Because we made the space to get that done. We didn't have the space because what we had was just lawn. A big old yard, like a huge yard. But look how much we can do with this yard. Right? I can do vertical gardening here. I can do raised beds. I have a lot of seedlings that I started indoors that are out here. Needs to go in the ground, but I'm still waiting for the moon to be right. It's just past full moon. Full moon was last night, so I gotta wait till the moon gets a little bit smaller before I can plant these in ground. So I have my work cut out for me. I have my date set to transplant in ground because I'm going by the moon, and just making sure that I plant them at the right time. I also do have some perennial flowers, which also is important in attracting insects. And a lot of those perennial flowers are herbs and they have medicinal benefits. So I can grow a whole wide variety of a lot of different things, even tropicals, successfully. in my zone 6B, and I'm happy about that. So it's just a little bit of encouragement here for anyone who wants to hear this or needs to hear this, and I am happy to share it with you. So if you've started, be encouraged, keep going, keep pushing, stay focused, and ignore the noise. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time right here on Fifi's Urban Homestead and Lifestyle.